Beautiful YouTube people, I have a technique I want to share with you today. Now, this technique is only for those who are built different. I don't think you should attempt this technique if you are not powerful enough yet. This technique is banned in 13 countries. Not many people have lived after improperly utilizing such a destructive and beautiful, honestly beautiful technique. This technique uses Oeksound Soothe to, as many of you know, this is plugin of the year, more or less. An incredibly useful plugin. It's essentially an AI listening EQ. Let's go ahead and pull it up so you guys can see what's going on with Soothe. This is the interface. It's got depth, this sort of stuff happening. I'm going to play this sound with Soothe active so that you can hear the effects of Soothe as a default effect, not in the forbidden technique that we will discuss in a moment. This sound that I'm going to play through it is simply just a triangle wave and a saw wave playing some chords. There's nothing to it really. That's it, really. Soothe, what it does in its default nature is it listens, the computer, the AI listens to the sound in real time and EQs it and takes out resonances or something. I'm not, the best person to explain this. I'm sure there's better videos on explaining this. This video is going to go more into detail with a few of the techniques you can use with this plugin. This is what it does in default, though. As you can hear and see, it's EQing those frequencies out that amount. And if you adjust this depth, or the other various big knobs, it EQs out more of the sound. Now, that technique is simple. That technique is for your day ones, for your level 1 producers who heard about this plugin on youtube.com. And the next technique, it's like your level 2 technique. It's the sidechain capability of Oeksound Soothe. Now, if you're in Logic or just Logic, I think, there will be this window at the top that says sidechain. And you can set it to any of your group inputs or singular inputs. And I'm going to set it to this group input here, bus 7. And if you switch on the sidechain listening here, what Soothe is going to do is it's going to listen to the frequencies that are playing through bus 7, and it's going to EQ out those resonances and those frequencies from your sound in real time. Now, this might not sound different at all, really. And the reason that is because my bus 7 is going to no output. It's not sending a signal. So the only thing that's happening is some slight resonant ducking in this, what is it? Saw wave and a triangle wave. Now that's your level 2. And now another level 2 technique with Oeksound Soothe is to solo the resonances. And you do that by pressing, I believe, this delta button. Let's make sure that that's right. Yeah, that's it. So if you push this delta button, it solos the resonances that it's cutting out. And you can hardly hear anything right now. It's minus 50 dB. But if we start to turn all these knobs up, you'll hear the resonances. Cool, right? Cool. Okay, that's another level 2 technique. Now, the forbidden, sacred, ancient technique that if you try this technique, the US government will put a van outside your house and you will be put on a watch list. This is to combine those two techniques. It's to combine the sidechain technique and the resonance solo technique. and you'll start to get some really, really cool effects. If you put in your carrier signal, it could be whatever you want it to be, and your modulator signal can be whatever you want it to be. It's almost like a little bit of a vocoder meets a gate meets a talk box meets FM. It's a really interesting effect. It's not quite FM actually. It's mostly the first three. But let's see how it sounds just with the default settings, and then we'll mess with the settings. Now the carrier signal, I guess I should talk about before. It's a vocal, just some vocal thing and some drum loops that I cut out. Like one of them's a vengeance loop, one of them's an amen break, and one of them's the vocals just something random I picked off Splice. I haven't even listened to these. Honestly, I just dragged them in and sequenced them so that they looked pretty. I haven't listened to any of these samples. And you're gonna get some really cool random effects by doing that. And let's just play how this sounds. Okay, you can't quite hear it, but we're gonna crank the trim, all the way up so we can hear it. Oops. So I've got a gain here. I'm going to turn on a gain and slowly turn it up. It's already sounding like it went from the sawtooth and triangle wave into a very powerful, modulating, moving sound, which is really cool. And I'm going to show you a few other ways you can apply this after we go through this first demo. Let me turn it up a little bit so we can hear it a little bit better. Insane. Very, very cool. Very cool. Now, a few other ways you can do this is you can create sort of a gated effect. And I think the best way to do that is with, something very percussive or something that's been gated or LFO'd as your sidechain signal. And then the carrier signal can be, again, whatever you really want it to be. I've loaded these chords into a few different patches here. They're the same patch, actually. They're the same whatever it is. You know what? Actually, we're just gonna put it on the same channel. We're not even really gonna think about it too much, and we'll duplicate this on this channel as well, so we have something here to listen to. Okay, so this is it, but it's a little bit more gated. Again, there's no change to the original sound. It's still this. But when you add the sidechain and you just change the carrier signal to, it could be any audio file. I think this is just like a 16th note like thing. It just has 16th notes. And when you play that, very powerful technique. Very cool. You can do some really cool stuff with this. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think you can do some other stuff with it. If you start to stack instances of it, I was messing with that earlier. We're going to try it right here. I've just switched on like 4 or 5 soothes that are basically doing that, exactly that. And we're going to see how that sounds. Oops. We have placed these on the wrong plugins. Here we go. That sounds trash. It sounds really bad, but it's kind of cool. And as you notice, it's a drastically different effect. How does it sound with this carrier signal? I don't even know what any of these audio files sound like. It just... It's wild. You can get a lot of different effects off of this because it's what it's essentially doing is it's using the resonance from your sidechain source to modulate the carrier signal. And if you even switch it up, if you have a carrier signal that's doing something, this carrier signal right now, it's so basic. It's just like a saw and a triangle. You can start to get really drastic effects. Like instead of using a saw or triangle, let's say you use a drum loop. And then with the drum loop, you're carrying another drum loop signal through your soothe. And then you can get these crazy like resonant percussion type loops and everything. It's very, very cool. So let me know what you guys think of this technique. Let me know if you guys are able to get anything out of this in the comments below. And let me know if this was helpful to you guys. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you get arrested by the CIA for using this technique, just know that I warned you. I warned you.